Well, hello, good evening, good evening, good evening. Well, I'm just testing something out now with some music in the background. Well, what I want to talk about now are my reflection on 2020 and what a year it's been. Here in the UK, we are few hours away from entering 2021. Well, for me, 2020 has felt like a 24-month year. It's only at the beginning of this year in February I was in the Philippines on holiday, and to look back and see what has happened to the world just seems like it's been a year in made up of 2 years. So these are my reflections. I found that I learned a lot about people. I spent many years in education. I'm a grown person, um, knowledge of the world. But we found ourselves in this pandemic, and I learned a lot by observing what was going on around. And I would say one of the things that I learned was that a lot of what we see or what we observe of people, businesses, etc., hasn't really turned out to be what it is. It was Chris Rock. I was watching a video and he said he was reflecting on 2020 himself. And he said this pandemic has brought us to the world of the three piggies, by which he meant it's the story of the three pigs. One built a house on sand, and one built the house on straw, and one built the house with stone. And the big bad wolf obviously comes along and blows the whole thing away. Now, obviously, building a house with straw is not going to last, and the one built with sand didn't last either. But the one of rock, yes. And as I was looking around when the pandemic started coming through, it was the same as if individuals, not anybody I know personally, but companies, people who are supposed to be rich, were starting to go down, you know? And what it brought to my mind was that a lot of the things you see around you, so-called successful things or people, were not really that successful, because some of it is just show. There's no substance. And I've got to say, personally, I don't want to tempt fate, but it's not been a bad year for me. I'm going to confess it's been a good year. Well, and from a financial point of view, and I suppose it's because I have approached life in the sense that you live within your means, and I'd like to think I've been quite successful. So it's not living a life of being mean to yourself. Live fine, but I think I live quite conservatively, and I think a lot of people, a lot, not all people. There are people who have equally gone through this period in a good way, but a lot of people haven't, and you realize that there's not a lot of substance to how people have approached their lives. And I think that's one thing I've learned, that not everything you see that's supposedly successful is actually successful. And that's one thing. And the other thing I've really it's come really strong to me. It's people. They just don't. A lot of people just don't use common sense. Whether it be this pandemic or all sorts of things, and you just see people acting in a, not everybody, but this section of people. They just behave as if they're not thinking about things, and that's become quite pronounced to me. As a former teacher, I spent 30 odd years, observing how people learn, and you kind of realize that things can be obvious. Even our politicians, you look at things, you think, well, I'm not one of the smartest in the land. But there are things which are just so obvious. You wonder, well, why don't they do it? So that's another thing that became very pronounced to me. It's a lack of common sense and just applying it, be it politicians or some of the people in the street, and those are two things that really stand out to me this year. And I look over the past year with gratitude, and but it's going to be quite a tough year, 2021, because we're still in the pandemic. There's the vaccine. It's only a few countries that produce it, and there's best part of 7 billion people on the planet. So things are going to be pretty tough, and I say to myself and the people around me, now's the time to hold steady, hold firm. Because there's a lot of stuff in the news, there's a lot of rumors, there's a lot of panic, and it's time to hold steady and not get caught up in conspiracy theories. There's so many conspiracy theories. It's as if there are people who, this cup has got tea in it, and somebody will have a conspiracy about it. The sun is in the sky. There's a conspiracy behind it, and there's so many. And some of these people are very intelligent people. So 2021, it's going to be a challenge. And on a personal level, it's a matter of holding steady, holding firm, not getting caught up in the negativity. Observe the precautions, wash your hands, keep your hands from your face, social distancing, and just keep being positive. We are going to get through. So it's just a very brief reflection. It's all over the place, and I'm still testing systems, my location, and it's all of this is a rudimentary setup, but you got to start somewhere. So it's over and out, and I'll see you on the next video.